Welcome to Module 14, Leadership Management. Defining the difference between leadership and management is an ongoing discussion in the world of academia. And in that process, there's some good conclusions, but there's a lot of vagueness out there. What I'd like to do in this model is help you to understand the difference between leadership and management and find out how that actually applies and works in your specific organization. So let's begin with some definitions. This is John Kotter. Management makes systems of people and technology work well day after day, year after year. Notice the focus is on things, tasks, people, and technology, not just people. Leadership creates the systems that managers use and helps them to take advantage of opportunities and avoid hazards. So Kotter says that management is about systems and how they work. Leadership is about the creation of those systems. That's a good way of understanding the difference. Here's another one, counting value versus creating value. Managers count value, leaders create value. Managers have to make sure they're measuring what's getting done. Leaders are thinking about what should be done. Again, counting value versus creating value. Good definitions. Circles of influence versus circles of power. Managers have subordinates, leaders have followers. Managers create circles of power, leaders create circles of influence. It's interesting that they say the quickest way to figure out which of the two you're doing is count the number of people outside your reporting hierarchy who come to you for advice. The more that do, the more you're perceived as a leader. If the only people that are seeking out your advice are your direct reports, you're most likely doing more management than leadership. And one of the things that we discover, working especially in a lot of organizations that are highly structured, is that leaders spend too much time managing and not nearly enough time leading. So one of the things I'd like you to consider, spending more time leading and less managing, but to do that you have to understand the difference between the two. Leading people versus managing work. Now we're getting into some of Peter Drucker's work. Management is controlling a group or set of entities to accomplish a goal. Leadership is about influence and motivation and organizational success. And it's interesting that Drucker says that leadership is from an ancient Greek word meaning path maker, management from an ancient Greek word meaning path follower. One of the remarkable differences is that leaders make the path, managers follow that path. And so here's the issue down the side here. Planning, thinking, people, change, resources, focus. We break it down. Here's the simple thing. If you can remember this, it'll be helpful. As a general rule, you lead people, you manage tasks. If you find yourself doing more task kinds of things than leading people, one of the things I would ask you to do is consider whether you are a leader or a manager. Now, organizations need both. This is not one is good and one is bad. So what I'd like you to do is with your staff, look at the implications for your agency or your organization. What do we typically do that would be classified as management? Go back over the definitions and begin to have your staff list down and get as concise and as comprehensive a list as you possibly can. What do we typically do that would be classified as leaders or as leadership? And give your staff an opportunity to do that. And as you begin to break those down, it'll help you and your staff begin to understand how you're actually spending your time. My guess, and it's only a guess, is that you will find you are doing a lot more management than leadership. And for an organization to improve, to get better, to grow, leaders need to lead, not manage. This is a huge jump for many of you, and I hope this has been helpful.